May 19th, 3:33 a.m. Archangel Michael declares justice has begun, and you must stay silent. At precisely 3:33 a.m. on May 19th, the heaven did not whisper, they thundered in the spirit. Not through noise, but through divine synchronization, through time itself bending to holy instruction. This sacred hour was not an accident. It is a divine code embedded in your soul's blueprint. Something eternal has shifted. Something just and fierce has been set in motion. The celestial courts have convened, and Archangel Michael, the mighty warrior of divine order, has descended with decree in hand and sword drawn, not to strike in vengeance, but to restore balance to what has been bent and bruised in your life. This is a message not meant for the many, but for the few. The ones who have suffered silently, the ones who kept their lips sealed while their hearts were bleeding. You have endured manipulation cloaked in concern, betrayal masked as friendship, and tests disguised as trials. You have walked through fire while others danced around it, pretending they never saw the smoke rise from your soul. But heaven saw it, and heaven took note. And now, silence is your sword. Not because you are voiceless, but because you are victorious. Your silence is not weakness. It is strategy. It is divine warfare wrapped in stillness. The world will demand you speak. The enemy will bait you to respond. But Archangel Michael whispers, do not. 3:33 is not just a time. It is a portal. A divine time step that marks your name in the heavenly realm. When the clock struck 3:33 a.m., it didn't just echo in your room. It echoed across dimensions. Heaven has begun retaliation. Not through chaos, but through cosmic justice. Justice has begun. But it requires your silence. You are not being overlooked. You are being protected. You are not being delayed. You are being delivered. You are not being forgotten. You are being favored. Michael has drawn his sword. The time is sacred. A moment is here. Stay silent and watch what heaven does next. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 999 is now surrounding you. At the sacred hour of 3:33 a.m. on May 19th, the atmosphere shifted. The veil between dimensions thinned, and the angelic trumpet did not sound with noise. It moved with silence. Archangel Michael, commander of heaven's armies, stepped into divine position. Not to bring fear, but to bring fulfillment. Not to stir panic, but to release prophecy. And you, yes you, were awakened for a reason. This is not ordinary. This is not natural. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual alignment of the highest order. You must understand, you were not called randomly. You were not drawn accidentally. Heaven has never worked with randomness, it works with revelation. That strange waking hour, when the world was silent and your eyes suddenly opened, was not insomnia. It was instruction. That stirring in your chest, the tightness in your spirit, it wasn't anxiety. It was activation. You have entered a divine hour. The moment your clock blinked 3:33, something within you knew. Something is happening. Your name is on a scroll that angels have been reading. Your silence was written as testimony. Your restraint was inked as righteousness. And now the angelic host moves in your defense. Michael, the archangel, has drawn his sword, not to wound, but to restore, not to cut flesh, but to divide truth from lies, to separate deception from destiny. His sword does not merely strike, it discerns. It cleaves through the spiritual fog that others tried to wrap around your name. And now, the judgment of heaven begins. You've been called to silence, not because your voice lacks power, but because your silence echoes louder in the courts of heaven than your rebuttals in the halls of man. His silence is holy. This silence is warfare. This silence is strategy. You were not built for ordinary conflict. You were built for divine confrontation. And that confrontation begins with obedience. Heaven doesn't require your commentary. Heaven requires your compliance. Many will not understand. They will misread your stillness as surrender. Let them. They do not know that silence is your sword. That while they shout, heaven speaks. While they plot, angels write. While they move in shadows, Michael moves in light. And here is the truth you must now accept with boldness and reverence. Justice has begun. Justice isn't loud. It's precise. Justice isn't emotional. It's eternal. Justice isn't vengeance. It's correction with consequence. You are not waiting anymore. You are witnessing. You are not stuck. You are stationed. You are not forgotten. You are favored. The enemy thought your silence meant confusion. It did not. It meant clearance was being processed from higher realms. Heaven does not operate on opinions. It operates on eternal laws. Michael has drawn his sword, and when he draws, he does not miss. You must now walk in reverent silence. You must honor the order. The next few days will be heavy, but they will be holy. The unseen will begin to show. And when it does, you will not need to explain. Because heaven itself will announce you. Stay silent. Stay still. Stay sealed. Type I am anointed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1516 is now activated. Now comes the unveiling, the part that stings. The part that burns in the soul more than any blade in the flesh. The betrayal behind the veil. The whispering behind your back. The smiles that mask sabotage. And you felt it, didn't you? You knew something was off, but couldn't quite name it. Someone close knows something, but they've hidden it. Not out of ignorance, but out of intention. They kept the truth in their mouth and the lie in their hand. And all the while, they watched you bleed silently, knowing they could have stopped it. But they didn't, because their comfort required your confusion. Their elevation required your exhaustion. They smiled, but behind the smile was surveillance. Behind the praise was plotting. You were the topic, you, in rooms you never entered. Your name was passed like a token in circles of deception. But heaven recorded every conversation. Michael wrote down every word they thought was spoken in secret. And you felt the drain, the heaviness, the emotional fatigue that didn't match your day, the spiritual exhaustion that sleep never fixed. That was the weight of betrayal in the spirit realm. You didn't imagine it. You discerned it. They thought you were paranoid, but you were prophetic. This is not ordinary weariness. This is spiritual backlash. Every time you tried to walk in love, their bitterness kicked up a storm. Every time you forgave, they added another stone. And yet you stayed silent. Not because you lacked courage, but because you possessed wisdom. You knew something was deeper. Something was hidden. The shadow behavior, the strategic absences, the small jabs hidden in jokes. You noticed it. Your spirit flinched at their touch. Your soul recoiled at their words. But you gave grace. Again and again. You held your tongue when you had every right to speak. You endured when quitting would have been justified. You were patient. They were planning. But they forgot something vital. Heaven listens. Michael's ears are not dulled by silence. God's justice is not delayed by deceit. Every whisper, every false accusation, every manipulated perception was recorded. They thought you didn't know, but you knew in your spirit. What they tried to hide was exposed in the unseen. And now, heaven has issued a decree. I will read what they whispered. They will answer for every unanswered question you carried, for every tear you swallowed, for every time you bit your tongue so they could keep their lie alive. But stay silent. Let Michael finish what he started. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type I am protected in the comments if this speaks to your soul. Blessing code 1414 is now active around you. You thought this was personal, but it was prophetic. You thought this was an attack, but it was a test. You thought you were being punished, but you were being positioned. The wounds you carried did not come from weakness. They were given as evidence of spiritual assignment. Heaven was not blind. God was not silent. Archangel Michael was not idle. This battle was never between you and them. It was between heaven's plan and hell's interference. And the battleground wasn't in your home, your job, or your relationships. It was in your silence. When the betrayal came, heaven did not react, it watched. When the injustice struck, heaven did not tremble, it recorded. Because God was not looking to see how loud you could roar, He was watching how still you could stand. This was never about defending yourself. It was about proving yourself ready. You see, silence is not just a strategy. It is a spiritual signal. It is the mark of maturity in the eyes of the Most High. The angels do not move at your anger. They move at your alignment. The heavens do not respond to retaliation. They respond to restraint. And you, chosen one, showed restraint. You, beloved of the throne, passed the test. You wanted to speak. You wanted to clear your name. You wanted to fight back with facts and defend yourself with fervor. But something held you. Something holy. Something divine. It wasn't fear. It was divine discipline. What looked like abandonment was actually alignment. What felt like rejection was actually redirection. The betrayal wasn't for your destruction. It was your induction into spiritual authority. Michael watched as you were lied on. Michael stood when they twisted your truth. Michael waited when they expected you to snap. And every time you didn't take the bait, every time you didn't defend yourself, a scroll in heaven turned another page. Every silent moment was a spiritual stamp of promotion. They wanted you to retaliate. They wanted you to crack. Because your silence was suffocating their demons. Every word you didn't say was a sword they couldn't dodge. Because silence cuts sharper than gossip, deeper than rumor, louder than lies. The enemy's trap was never the betrayal, it was your reaction. They weren't afraid of your pain. They were afraid of your poise. Because poise is power. Poise signals divine authority. And you, without knowing it, became a living weapon for the kingdom. Your silence wasn't silence. It was sacred obedience. God was watching. The heavens were listening. Michael was stationed. And because you said nothing, heaven is now saying everything on your behalf. This is your reassurance. What felt like defeat was divine documentation. What felt like silence was a statement written in angelic ink. You are not broken. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are certified, sanctified, and sealed. You have graduated the test. You didn't fold. You didn't retaliate. You didn't explain. And now, the angels are mobilized. Now, justice is initiated. Now, vindication is visible. So walk with your head high, not in arrogance, but in alignment. You didn't lose anything that was meant to stay. You didn't miss anything that was destined to be yours. And you didn't suffer in vain. You sowed in silence, and now you shall reap in glory. Remember this. Sacred obedience attracts supernatural overflow. Type I am obedient in the comments if this confirms your spirit. Blessing code 2222 is surrounding you now. Prepare yourself. The next 72 hours will not be ordinary. They will be prophetic. Do not look for signs with your eyes. Feel them in your spirit. Because the ones who betrayed you, the ones who plotted and whispered and watched you in silence, they are about to show their faces. But you must remain still. You must remain silent. Because this next move, it isn't yours. It's heaven's. There is a trap being set, not for your fall, but for your response. There is a confrontation brewing, not to reveal truth, but to provoke chaos. Someone will reach out. A message will appear. A voice will suddenly resurface. But it is not reconciliation. It is retaliation disguised in familiarity. And if you answer, you abort what heaven has started. Don't respond. Don't explain. Don't defend. The enemy is probing, looking for cracks in your armor, searching for signs of insecurity. They will bait you with accusations, with guilt, with twisted versions of the truth. But remember, you are not in the courtroom of man. You are in the chambers of heaven. Michael has taken the case. The scrolls have been read. The judgment has already begun. Your silence is not waiting, it is witness. You are not being passive, you are positioned. The confrontation you want, heaven is orchestrating. The truth you've buried in silence, angels are now releasing. And those who thought they escaped judgment are about to feel the weight of divine exposure. But here is your test. Do not touch it. Do not try to control the moment. Do not try to make it happen. Divine retaliation is being cloaked in divine delay. Stay silent. Because in your silence, your enemies will panic. They will say more than they should. They will expose themselves. They will contradict their own stories. And when they do, you will have to say nothing, because the truth will no longer need a witness. It will be screaming from their mouths. Within the next 72 hours, heaven will move. Masks will fall. Plans will collapse. Words spoken in secret will be exposed in public. But do not gloat. Do not celebrate. This is sacred ground. This is not revenge. This is realignment. This is not wrath. This is righteousness unfolding. So guard your space. Guard your emotions. Guard your silence. Because what you prayed for in private is about to become visible. And the ones who watched you suffer will now witness you rise. Let them talk. Let them gather. Let them guess. But you stay still. You stay surrendered. You stay sealed in divine instruction. Because the moment they expect your voice will be the moment heaven thunders instead. Type I am still in the comments if this aligns with your spirit. Blessing code 0707 is shielding your next steps. Be still now. Not because you're doing nothing, but because your stillness is doing everything. The most powerful act of spiritual warfare is not always found in the storm of your shout, but in the silence of your soul. The heavens don't need volume to hear. Heaven needs your agreement. Your silence is a spiritual signal, a sign of divine compliance. When you refuse to react, you permit heaven to respond. The war you were never meant to fight in the flesh is being waged in the spirit. And now, Archangel Michael surrounds you with divine sentries. Angels have taken position around your dwelling, around your mind, around your heart. Your wings do not flap in panic, they hover in perfect order. You are protected not because you have built walls, but because you have built trust. Trust in the timing of God. Trust in the restraint of silence. Trust in the covering that cannot be seen but can surely be felt. And now, a word of instruction. Withdraw, not in defeat, but in consecration. This moment requires space. Space from voices that add confusion. Space from conversations that seek to bait you. Space from emotional noise that clouds divine guidance. Pull back. Cover your space in prayer. Sanctify your surroundings. Speak aloud your authority. Declare peace in your room. Declare fire over your boundaries. Do not underestimate the power of this quiet. When you say nothing, angels roar for you. When you pull back, heaven leans forward. Your stillness is echoing in the spiritual realm. It is releasing warfare in silence, strategies in surrender, and victories in visions. Even now, you may feel the agitation of the enemy, the tension, the disruption, the sudden chaos that comes before clarity. But do not let it move you. That noise is not power, it is panic. Panic from those who sense the scales are tipping. Panic from spirits that once had access to your peace and now find themselves shut out. Your silence has shut the door, and heaven has sealed it. Cling now to the promises that never shake. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. The battle is not yours, but God's. He gives his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. Recite them. Declare them. Don't just whisper them, believe them. And remember, retaliation is not your role, reverence is. The more still you are, the more strength is released. The more silent you are, the more sacred power you unleash. This is not passivity. This is strategy. This is not fear. This is force. So now, breathe. Anoint your doorposts. Cleanse your home of any objects or spirits that carry lingering residue. Speak peace into your space. Invoke Psalm 91 over your nights. You are not just protecting your space, you are reinforcing your seal. The divine instruction was simple, but profound. Stay silent. In this silence, you are not vulnerable. You are victorious. In this silence, you are not absent. You are aligned. And in this silence, the roar of heaven grows louder. Wait. Observe. Stay still. Let Michael finish the fight. Type I am shielded in the comments if you claim this covering. Blessing code 1717 now fortifies your home and heart. Now rise, spiritually, emotionally, and prophetically. You have walked through the fire of silence, but the flames were never meant to consume you. They were meant to forge you. You are not a victim of betrayal. You are a vessel of transformation. What others used to break you, heaven has used to build you. And now, the shift begins. You are stepping out of shadows with a new identity. Not because you changed your name, but because you claimed your nature. You are no longer defined by their assumptions. You are defined by divine alignment. And the truth is this: you are being shaped in darkness, not destroyed. You are being refined in silence, not forgotten. The silence you kept wasn't just obedience. It was resurrection in disguise. Like gold in the furnace, the heat did not harm you. It exposed your purity. It burned off the residue of needing approval, of needing explanation, of needing validation from voices that never understood your vision. You are rising now, not in reaction, but in revelation. And what a shift it is. The world around you may look the same, but you are unrecognizable. The weight you carried, gone. The fear you held, woven. The chains they wrapped around your name, tattered. You didn't just survive, you ascended. And here's what's happening in the spirit. Those who once mocked your silence will now marvel at your stability. They will wonder how you're still standing. They will wonder how you rose without a word. And they will not recognize who you have become. Because you are not who they left. You are who heaven lifted. You are not bitter. You are built. You are not silent. You are sacred. You are not broken. You are battle-tested. Now your spirit declares what your voice never needed to say. I made it. And I never had to clap back to claim it. Because this is your rebirth. This is your release. And this is your reward. You are no longer hiding. You are no longer hurting. You are no longer hanging on to what was. The silence taught you who you were all along. And now, the lion within roars without a sound. To walk boldly. Walk freely. Walk anointed. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $10. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type I am rising in the comments if you feel this in your spirit. Lesson code 444 is lifting you higher even now. You've been asking why. You've looked up at the ceiling, into the night sky, across tear-stained pillows, and whispered the same question over and over. Why, God? Why did I have to go through this? Why did they betray me? Why the silence? Why the isolation? And now, heaven speaks. This was never about them. Not about their jealousy. Not about their betrayal. Not about their attempts to undermine you. This was about you. This was about your unlocking. What you endured was never random. It was sacred preparation for spiritual promotion. The betrayal was the backdrop. The silence was the stage. And your obedience was the offering. You were never being buried. You were being planted. You were never being overlooked. You were being obscured until the divine moment of revelation. God allowed the enemy to think they had won. He allowed the whisperers to gain confidence. He allowed your name to be twisted, your actions misunderstood, your loyalty disregarded, not because he abandoned you, but because he was testing your voice. Could you stay silent when silence was the strategy? Could you trust heaven's timing when earth mocked your patience? And you did. Heaven needed proof that your identity wasn't wrapped in applause, that your purpose wasn't fueled by popularity, that your faith didn't require a platform. And now, the test is complete. Now, the scrolls are unsealed. You are being raised in rank. You are being released into spiritual elevation. The delay was your disguise. The silence was your sword. The betrayal was your badge. And now comes the unveiling. This was your wilderness before your throne. Your garden of Gethsemane before your resurrection. Your moment of silence before the sound of the trumpet. You are not just rising, you are being announced. The Holy Spirit whispers now, you passed the test. The Archangel Michael moves forward. Justice has begun. Every moment of confusion was a setup for clarity. Every night of anguish was soil for spiritual authority. And now, your name is being whispered in places your feet have not yet stepped. Your reputation is being restored in dimensions your eyes cannot see. You are being spoken of in rooms you didn't even know existed. What was taken is being returned. What was hidden is being revealed. And what you didn't understand then, you will celebrate now. This isn't just a season. It's a spiritual shift. A heavenly transition. You are no longer surviving. You are ascending. Heaven knew your name. And now, the earth will echo it. Type I am unlocked in the comments if this confirms your breakthrough. Blessing code 2020 is activating your next level. Now is the time to respond, not with your mouth, but with your spirit. You have arrived at a divine crossroad. This is not the moment to look back. This is the moment to step into your assignment with clarity, with courage, with complete alignment. Say yes to your calling. Not the calling others assumed. Not the calling you once feared. The true calling. The one that has been burning inside you through every betrayal, through every silent battle. A calling that was forged in the fire of restraint. The purpose that remained hidden beneath layers of pain, confusion, and growth. Heaven is not waiting for your perfection. Heaven is waiting for your agreement. Say it aloud. My silence is my surrender to divine justice. Let this become your war cry in this season. Not one shouted in anger, but whispered in alignment. Because destiny does not respond to noise. It responds to readiness. You have been made ready. The old version of you would have argued. The old version of you would have tried to explain. But this version, this refined, resurrected, repositioned you. This one knows that destiny opens not by demand, but by design. You don't need to knock. The doors are already unlocking. But listen, there's work to be done, and heaven will give you strategy. Now is the time to journal, not to process pain, but to record prophecy. Now is the time to fast, not to beg for answers, but to sharpen your discernment. Now is the time to align. Cleanse your schedule, your connections, your commitments. Your next chapter requires clarity. This silence wasn't about suffering. It was about synchronization. You have become synchronized with divine timing. You've aligned your spirit with heaven's rhythm. And now, favor flows without obstruction. Miracles move without delay. And purpose unfolds without confusion. Don't look for validation, look for confirmation. Don't seek applause, seek alignment. Don't chase opportunity, prepare for responsibility. Because what is being placed in your hands next is holy. The weight of it will not crush you, it will ground you. But only if you honor the silence that birthed it. Your silence declared your surrender. Now your surrender will declare your success. So take your next step boldly. You are not stepping alone. Michael walks ahead. Angels surround. Heaven watches with joy. And your name is now written on the wind. If this message resonates with you and you feel led to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $50. Your generous heart helps us bring more powerful messages into this sacred space. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type I am aligned in the comments if this message is for you. Blessing code 3131 has now entered your atmosphere. There is something happening beyond your sight, beyond what your eyes can verify and your ears can confirm. It is silent. It is sovereign. It is sacred. This is not imagination. This is not wishful thinking. This is the silent exchange in the spirit realm. While you sleep, your name is being spoken. Not in gossip, but in glory. Not in accusation, but in affirmation. Angels are uttering your identity in chambers you've never seen. Archangel Michael himself stands guard as heaven releases new decrees concerning your life. There is a divine wire transfer in progress, not of money, but of mercy. Not of fame, but of fare. What was stolen, your peace, your voice, your time, is being returned with interest. What was delayed is now being expedited. What was blocked is now being broken open. But it's all happening in silence. The silence wasn't just your response, it was your key. And now, scrolls are being unsealed again. Not the scrolls of judgment against you, but the scrolls of purpose for you. Contracts written before time, before betrayal, before fear, these are now being revisited. The record of your destiny is being reviewed, and heaven has decided it is time. You've done what many could not. You held your peace when provoked. You wept, but you did not war in the flesh. You prayed, not for revenge but for release. You refused to let your pain cancel your posture. And heaven watched it all. Now, the exchange is underway. The accusations, they are being dismantled. The curses, they are being reversed. The judgments spoken over you in ignorance, they are being silenced by the authority of truth. You are receiving a holy reversal. The favor that's about to rest on your life is not random, it is repayment. But this favor is not for display, it is for dominion. You are being positioned not to show off, but to steward. Not to parade, but to protect. What's coming requires your maturity, your discipline, and your sensitivity. Because heaven didn't give this lightly. It gave it to the one who proved worthy in silence. So be aware. In the coming days, you'll feel strange shifts, sudden clarity, unexpected peace, a breaking away from things that no longer serve your assignment. Don't resist it. It's part of the transaction. The Holy Spirit is setting new terms in the unseen. You don't need to approve them. You only need to align. The angels are negotiating on your behalf. The enemy is losing access. And your spirit is stepping into full agreement with heaven. So tonight, when you close your eyes, rest differently. Sleep as one who is covered. Sleep as one whose case had been settled. Sleep knowing that the divine exchange is not just coming, it has already begun. Type "I receive my divine exchange" in the comments if you feel the shift. Blessing code 8383 now flows into every room of your life. It has begun. Not with trumpets, not with thunder, but with a calm certainty of spiritual law in motion. The scales are no longer tilted. The balance is returning. The justice you've prayed for is no longer pending. It's processing. Heaven doesn't forget. Every tear you cried was bottled. Every sigh you released in secret was recorded. Every insult you endured, every manipulation you faced, every distortion of your name, all of it was seen. Not just by man, but by the Holy Judge himself. And now comes reversal. This is not payback from pain. This is not vengeance from bitterness. This is divine justice, clean and holy, untouched by human motive. Heaven does not move out of emotion. It moves from eternity. And eternity has declared, it is time. What they did to harm you returns to them tenfold, not because you demanded it, but because heaven required it. Not because you fought, but because you forgave. And that forgiveness became the courtroom key. You reap peace. They reap panic. You reap restoration. They reap reckoning. You rise with grace. They fall into the trap they set. This is the mystery of reversal. That what was meant to kill you became the soil for your anointing. That what silenced you has now screamed your elevation. That every private night of sorrow was actually a spiritual seed, watered by faith, protected by angels, and now ready for harvest. You are being restored emotionally. The anxiety is leaving. The triggers are dissolving. The heaviness is breaking. You will laugh again without wondering who's watching. You will breathe again without fearing what's next. You are being restored reputationally. God Himself will vindicate you. The same mouths that tried to destroy you will have to confess your integrity. The same eyes that rolled in judgment will now widen in wonder. You are being restored spiritually. New discernment, new strength, new authority. This reversal is not just about fixing what was lost. It's about preparing you for what's coming. Because the next season requires a version of you that only silence could build. Every silent night was not ignored. It was archived. And heaven has opened that archive. Justice is not coming. It's here. And restoration is not future tense. It's now. So do not fear what falls. Do not mourn what's exposed. What breaks was never meant to be part of your breakthrough. What fails was never built on truth. Let it fall. Let heaven speak. Let the sword of Michael restore what the enemy thought he could steal. Now comes reversal. Now comes restoration. Now comes the reign of the one who stayed silent while others screamed. Type "I claim my restoration" in the comments if you felt the shift. Blessing code 1155 is breaking the seals of delay in your life. And now, beloved, be still one final time. Not in hesitation, but in holy reverence. You've journeyed through the fire of betrayal, through the storm of silence, through the testing ground of restraint. And here, on the other side, you are not the same. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Archangel Michael has not left your side. He is at return to the heavens because his assignment is not yet complete. His sword is still drawn, not to strike in vengeance, but to guard your promise. His wings still surround you, not to shelter you from life, but to shield you from interference as you rise. Justice has not only begun, it is unfolding. Let no one rush your silence. Let no one question your peace. Let no one pull you back into the arguments heaven has already settled. Your silence was sacred. Your restraint was royal. And your obedience has become your offering. So I declare this now, not as a suggestion, but as a sealing. May your mouth remain sealed when needed and your spirit overflow with divine assurance. May every step you take from this moment forward be ordered by heaven. May your sleep be deep, your thoughts be clear, and your atmosphere be angelic. No weapon, no word, no whisper will prosper against you, because you have aligned with the divine. You are not at the end. You are at the emergence. The enemy counted on your collapse. Heaven counted on your character. And now, earth will witness your elevation. Archangel Michael has declared it. Justice has begun. Type Amen in the comments to seal this message over your life. Blessing code 333 has now marked your timeline with divine fulfillment.